Peace. Welcome to the YouTube live book reading of The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Dr. Cheikh and Diop. Peace, YouTube. Divine days and nights. Time for the new chapter. Yes. So I wanted to make sure that let you know it's all happening right now. That's why we have to be grateful and thankful for everything that we have now and all that is coming to us. Been in deep meditations. So grateful. Powerfulness. All right. Chapter 10 is where we pick up at page 204. Political and social evolution of ancient Egypt. It's very major. Political and social evolution of ancient Egypt. A. First cycle, the Old Kingdom. Peace. At the top of page 204, starting chapter 10 right now. Here we go. A. First cycle, the Old Kingdom. The political unification of the Nile Valley was effected for the first time from the south, from the kingdom of Nekhen in Upper Egypt. Narmer's tablet discovered by Quibble in Heliopolis retraced its various episodes. Capart rightly identified, it seems, King Narmer with the legendary King Menes depicted on plate 5. The capital of the United Kingdom was transferred to Thinis, near Abydos. This was the period of the first two Thinite dynasties, 3000 to 2778 BCE. By the third dynasty, 2778 to 2723, centralization of the monarchy was complete. All the technological and cultural elements of Egyptian civilization were already in place and had only to be perpetuated. For the first time in Egypt, Pharaoh Zoser introduced architecture in hewn stone. His strong Negro face with characteristic features dominated that period. Palette 6. In reality, the other pharaohs of the dynasty were no less Negroid. Petrie affirmed that this dynasty, the first to give Egyptian civilization its almost definitive form and expression, was of Sudanese Nubian origin. It was easier to recognize the Negro origin of the Egyptians when the initial display of their civilization coincided with an unquestionably Negro dynasty. The equally Negro features of the proto-dynastic face of Terra Netter and those of the first king to unify the valley also prove that this the only valid hypothesis. Palette 4. Similarly, the Negro features of the fourth dynasty pharaohs, the builders of the Great Pyramids, confirm this. And please, palettes 7 through 10. Examining the figures in chronological order, we see a homogeneous ethnological picture able to enlighten us on the true origin of the ancient Egyptians. This is because under the Old Kingdom, prior to the widespread contacts with white skinned races of the Mediterranean, the Negro Egyptian race was practically untouched by crossbreeding. With administrative centralization in the Third Dynasty, writes Jacques Perrin, there was no longer any noble or privileged class. However, the clergy, guardian of the faith that established the king's authority, was a corpse apart, well organized, and relatively independent. Until then, it had exercised its spiritual guardianship at the coronation of the king in the temple at Heliopolis. But to make his power absolute, the king clashed with the clergy. From then on, he renounced the Heliopolis coronation and had himself crowned in his own palace at Memphis. He proclaimed the principle of his omnipotence by divine right, added great God to his titles, and was free from any human control. The advent of the Fourth Dynasty with the Giza pyramids showed that the monarchy had reached its zenith. Thereafter, the regime again evolved toward feudalism. The courtiers constituted a special corps of the dignitaries, which would make itself hereditary by usage and soon by right. The cycle just described was twice more to be repeated almost identically, and the history of the ancient Egypt was to end without ever developing into a republic nor creating true secular thought. The feudal system that had just triumphed with the Fifth Dynasty reached its peak with the Sixth. Peace, YouTube. What's going on? Hi, it's Hard Love. We just are beginning this 10th chapter. Thank you for being here and reading with us. Book lovers community love here, I see. Much love. Peace, peace. All right. We're at page 205. Just began this new chapter. Hmm. It then engendered general stagnation in the economy and the administration of the state in urban as well as rural areas. And the Sixth Dynasty was to end with the first popular uprising in Egyptian history. Obviously, division of labor on the basis of craftsmanship already existed. The cities, doubtless, were active centers of trade with the Eastern Mediterranean. Their ideal poverty stricken masses would take to an active part in the revolt. The Moors of the nobility created a special class of men, servants, contracted for varying tenure. The text describing these events shows that the country had plunged into anarchy. Insecurity reigned, especially in the Delta, with the raids by the various workshops and urban building yards. The wretched of Memphis, capital and sanctuary of royalty, pillaged the city, robbing the rich and driving them into the streets. The movement soon spread to other cities. Sayas was temporarily governed by a group of 10 notables. The situation throughout the city was poignantly described in that text. Here we go. Description of the text. Peace. Welcome to this peaceful part of YouTube. Thank you so much. We're pushing towards 700 on this peaceful part. Reading books and learning from masters. I'm master fitness trainer, Uriel Riley. Thank you so much for being here. Much love to all the book lovers community and readers of text of all different types. We honor you and love you all. All right. Down at the bottom of page 205, about to go to page 206. In this beginning and introduction of this new chapter, chapter 10. Thieves become proprietors, and the former rich are robbed. Those dressed in fine garments are beaten. Ladies who had never set foot outside now go out. The children of nobles are dashed against the walls. Wow. Towns are abandoned. Doors, walls, columns are set aflame. The offspring of the great are thrown into the street. Nobles are hungry and in distress. Servants now are served. Noble ladies flee. Their children cringe in fear of death. The country is full of malcontents. Peasants wear shields into the fields. Man slays his own brother. The roads are traps. People lie in ambush until the farmer returns in the evening. Then they steal whatever he is carrying. Beaten with cudgels, he is shamefully killed. Cattle roam at will. No one attends them. Each man leads away any animals he has branded. Everywhere crops are rotting. Clothing, spices, oils are lacking. Filth covers the earth. The government stores are looted and their guards struck down. People eat grass and drink water. So great in their hunger that they eat the food intended for the swine. The dead are thrown into the river. The Nile is a sepulchre. Public records are no longer secret. Mm, mm, mm. Testament written, of course, translated and transliterated. It would seem that an attempt was made at the time to desecrate the sacred text, but this is difficult to verify. Apparently, the poor, at least for a time, retained the position then acquired, for economic life and trade regained their normal course. Wealth reappeared, though no longer in the same hands. Luxury is widespread, but it is the poor who now are affluent. He who had nothing possesses treasures, and the great flatter him. So the first cycle of Egyptian history ended with the collapse of the Old Kingdom. It had begun with the feudalism that preceded the first political unification. It closed in anarchy and feudalism. Mm, mm, mm. That's what happened. Yep, that's what happened. I'll ring a bell there. End of the Old Kingdom to feudalism. Mm, mm, mm. That's how it ended. No more building pyramids. Mm. Monarchy sank into feudalism without being directly attacked. In fact, the principle of monarchy could not have been gravely threatened. Perhaps there were a few timid attempts at self government in the Delta cities, as at Sayas, but this was probably a temporary solution dictated by the suddenness of the crisis and the lack of public authority that followed the invasion of the Delta by the Asiatics. Cities on the invasion route were abruptly compelled to assure their own safety as they faced the common enemy. Confronted by this situation, the former provincial governors in Upper and Middle Egypt set themselves up as independent feudal lords, freed henceforth from any royal overlordship, though they did not ever question the principle of monarchy itself. On contrary, each in his own way was trying to be king. They called themselves kings of their own regions. Apparently, the bureaucratic apparatus, which weighed so heavily on the poor, along with royal absolutism was the main target. After the revolution, all Egyptians had a right to the Osirian death, the privilege of survival in the hereafter, previously reserved for the pharaoh as the only one with the Ka, a soul in the sky. Mm, mm, mm. Beautiful. At the top of page 207, here we go. The two facts, however, must be noted. The discontent was strong enough completely to disrupt Egyptian society throughout the entire country, but it lacked direction and coordination, the strength of modern movements. That would have required a level of popular education incompatible with the possibilities and forms of education at the time. Above all, it was the size of the territory that overcame the insurgents. The country was already unified, and royalty could take temporary refuge in the surrounding provinces, if only in the guise of an embryonic feudalism. The sack of Memphis shows that the monarchy could have been definitely conquered and swept away if the Egyptian kingdom were reduced to the size of a single city comparable to the Greek city state. Mhm. It's too vast, too large. You know, once then it just became provinces, and the Greek city states were very small in comparison to the land that Upper and Lower Egypt are compared. You just look at the land of them right now, you know, show you. Look how huge Africa is. And look how small these little places are talking about. Look how giant. See? It's not even close. Eyes, heart, love. Thank you for reading books with us. We're at page 207 in this 10th chapter. All right. Well, read this little paragraph right here, and then we'll pause for this reading. Thank you for being here. Divine days and nights, right? Let's go. I see you. I see you. That's right. We stay in the divine, harmonic, peaceful clean place. And that matters, you know, because real life, what we're reading is what matters, you know. The stories that come out of them show patterns. It allows us to expand. And so that's why I love being in a peaceful mode, bring to you, and we sit here and read, comprehend, and imagine, right? Imagine it. Imagine it. It's so important. Imagining the world we need. Hmm. Throughout history, until technical progress and education paved the way for better coordination of insurrectional activity, 1789. Peoples have always been conquered by the size of the kingdoms whose social regimes they wished to transform. A study of the Asiatic mode of production really bolts down to the an analysis of the historical economic factors that led to early unification in Egypt and opposed it in Greece. A comparison of two societies reveals a residual facility factor. I'll read that again. A comparison of the two societies reveals a residual factor linked to the prior stage of nomadic life among the Greeks. To be sure, it is reasonable to assume that all peoples, including the Egyptians, experienced a period of nomadism before becoming sedentary. But nowhere did nomadic life have so profound or so prolonged an effect as among the Indo-Aryans of the Eurasian plains. Their civilization has remained marked by it even in our day. And the many practices of civilized nations in Europe today are related ethnologically to that period. For example, cremation of the dead, the patriarchal family, and so on. When we consider the failure of a revolution during antiquity, it is evident that the non revolutionary character of the social structure is less important than the size factor. In reality, whatever may have been the virtues of Egypt's social organization, it finally created, like Greece, intolerable abuses and uprisings as virulent as the Greco Latin revolts. These revolts in Egypt would surely have triumphed if the territorial dimensions had been the same. Only the size of the kingdom condemned the insurrections in advance. During the period of anarchy, most of the Egyptians' cities temporarily had autonomous governments, which disappeared with the arrival of the kingdom. We'll pause right here. So, page 208 at the top. Wow. See, when you connect all the dots, it's very clear. It is very, very clear. Mm, mm, mm. Amazing. Thank you for being here. See it live on this 43rd edition of this reading. And when we pick back up, we are going going to the sky blue cloud for restoration and writing poetry. Thank you so much for the likes and subs. We're pushing towards 700 on this peaceful part of YouTube now. How awesome. Thank you for being here. That's love. So much love. Fine days and nights. I was so excited last time to bring in my magnifying glass. Handy dandy was right there, right? So I got something else for coming up. I got a black light. Oh, I can't wait to put that in. Love, peace, everyone. Awesome, YouTube. Yeah, we're shaking it up on YouTube, reading books, taking it to another level. I've been seeing the readings just go up and up on like clinical application of respiratory care. And oh my goodness, sacred sounds. Thank you so much. Gratitude for reading books with us. Such an honor to be able to do this to y'all, bring it to you free, no commercials, live from the light here in LA. Much love. Yeah. Let's have a glass of love water. All those solar returns, all our friends and family, all those that have elevated. We love you. I 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 love you. It's amazing. Thank you for reading with us. I want you to have a wonderful day. Remember, look up. You might see something come right to you. Sometimes I look up and I'll see a feather just floating down. Right? And then pick it up, give thanks, blow on it, and make a wish. Right? Peaceful. And that's how we help to elevate our world. It's learning to harmonize. I'll put that in the harmonic vibrational, as because that's a very key master gem. Is when you really become enabled in your transmuting abilities to harmonize with other energies that aren't resonant with you at first. And so that's why listening is so key, because I can listen to something and completely disagree, but I can say, okay, that's their point of view. That's a form of harmonizing. This is how we continue to do the work and build all over the world, the mirror, the pyramids, right? It was having a continuous, harmonious oneness with nature and those around us. And so we didn't build any of those in the time of war. That was not any of the, furthest thing from our minds. So we need to have peace rallies, you know, in that essence, because that's going to lift up the peace and righteous. But if we keep letting the forced resonance take over the focused energy that we have, we'll never get to the destination that we want. So going into meditation again, meditation Monday to 5 days and nights. I will see you soon when we reconvene. Sending love and prayers out to all our friends and family. To the north, sending love and light. To the east, all our friends and family, sending angels and love and light, protection, joy. To the south, sending rainbow light, protection, and angels to all our friends and family in the south. And to where the sun sets, where we are now. Sending angel love and light to all our friends and family. Joy, hugs to the west. Ay, 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 ay. Love, love, love you. Ay, 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 ay. Love you. Know it as I love myself. I wish you have a wonderful day and rest again. I will see you tonight. We're going right here. See that? Sky blue cloud. I'll see you there. Peace, peace.